Hi, and welcome to this week's video. I am Pastor Dave. Well, as we transition from the month of March into April, here in America, it's all about sports. You know, you have the March Madness, which ends in the Final Four and then the championship game. You have baseball spring training transitioning into opening day. You have the NFL draft later on in the month of April. And then in the middle of all that, you have this holiday called Easter. Now, sports around the world is a big thing. It might be soccer in other nations, but here in America, it's football and baseball, and those are the main sports. And basketball, college basketball, is huge. When you understand what you value, when you understand where your priorities are, when you understand what you worship, and worship may not be a word you may put with sports, but the word fan comes from the word fanatic. And what it means is that you are all in, you're all committed to whatever it is you are following. And with Easter in the middle of all these sporting events, it's interesting to see how people respond to sports and how people respond to Easter. You know, with sports, with March Madness, with the NCAA tournament coming up, it's a 3-week tournament basically, and 81% of the revenue comes from TV and marketing. Only 11% comes from ticket sales. According to CNBC Business, the director of race and sports operations at Wynn Resort in Las Vegas, he estimates between $200 million and $225 million would be gambled in Las Vegas just on the basketball tournament. According to CNN Money, the Division I men's tournament, if you and I wanted to go, the average cost of a ticket is over $300, $316 just to go to a college basketball game in these final 3 weeks. Now, do the schools make any money? Because these players are college players. They're amateurs. They're not being paid. Do the schools make any money? Yes, they do. They're putting into tournaments, and they're put into seeds, which they're ranked by seeds. Number 1 seed often plays the lowest seed, which would be number 16 seed. And as the tournament starts off, and every game the team plays, they get a credit. They get a unit. And as the tournament goes on, that unit becomes worth $265,000 to the conference. So the conference with the most teams in the finals and in the playoffs will make the most money. Then the conferences divide the money up to the schools. And the coaches, college basketball coaches, the players may be amateurs, but the coaches are professionals. Over 35 college coaches make more than $1 million a year. Duke's coach leads the way with a contract or a salary of $7.3 million. The TV rights to watch these games are valued over $800 million. So a college basketball coach and many college football coaches will make more money than the college professors who are teaching our kids and preparing them for the future. And now what about you and me? How many people are watching March Madness at work? They say, or they estimate, that $4 billion will be lost in unproductive time. And in fact, on the website, on the March Madness website, they have what's called the live streaming website. Well, if you're at work and you're live streaming a game and you're watching March Madness, any of the tournaments from 64 teams or the 8 teams or the 4 teams, whatever it may be, if your boss walks in, up in the top right-hand corner of the live stream, the NCAA put this on their website. There's a button that's called the boss button. And all you do is click on that, and your screen automatically pops up a PowerPoint presentation with some charts and graphs. So if your boss walks by, it looks like you're not playing games and watching basketball, but you're being productive. They've even put that in. To be deceitful, they're putting this boss button in. It's over a decade long they've been doing this. In 2009, they even took corporate sponsors. They had Comcast and Buick become sponsors of the boss button. That's how much we worship sports. That's just college basketball. Now, what are we doing as we're watching college basketball? Apparently, we're drinking a lot of beer as well. In the month of March, 17.5 million barrels of beer are produced and distributed. Now, how much is done in a normal month? About 14 million barrels. So there's 3.5 million barrels more in March. Now, I don't know if it's because of St. Paddy's Day or March Madness, or a combination of there, but people like to drink beer, especially in the month of March. Pizza deliveries are also up 19% in the month of March. The media, if you want to do an advertisement, in the Super Bowl, it's $5 million for a 30-second commercial. Think what could be done with $5 million. On the NCAA tournament, the 3 weeks in March, A 32nd spot is running $1.5 million just in 2017. Now, as you transition from basketball into baseball, spring training is huge in Florida and Arizona. And in fact, people are spending all kinds of money now for spring training. Attendance records are being smashed year after year after year, including this year. In fact, the Chicago Cubs, they averaged over 15,000 people for a spring training game. This is just minor league players and regular season players, but only playing a few innings each. And 15,000 are attending a Cubs game. The Salt River Fields in Talking Sticks in Arizona. This is where the Rockies and Diamondbacks, they share this stadium. They have been breaking records for 7 years now. Since 2011, for 7 years in a row, they've had sellouts, and they've had over 300,000 people attend their games in the month of March. They had 129 sold-out games in the last 7 years. And in Florida, the Baltimore Orioles are doing the same thing. They had just 17 games in the month of March. They're in the home stadium, and they sold out and broke attendance records. Sarasota County government says that the Orioles will bring in $89 million in economic resources just for that area around the ballpark. That's hotels and food and so on and so forth. The Boston Red Sox in 2010, the Florida Lee County, the county itself, sold $81 million in bonds just to build the stadium to keep the Boston Red Sox in Fort Myers, Florida. It's crazy what's being spent, and that money is coming out of your pocket and my pocket. In 2012, this is now 5 years ago, the Cactus League, they did a research, a survey, and they said that the Arizona Cactus League, and again, this is 5 years ago, brought in well over $630 million in economic support for the area, the Phoenix area, for minor league baseball, for spring training baseball. It's crazy when you talk about money and what people are doing. What are we worshiping? What are we putting as priority? What is number one to us? Now, I enjoy sports as much. In fact, I wore a sports shirt just for today for this. I enjoy sitting down and watching a ball game. But it doesn't take priority over my Lord. It doesn't take priority over my family. And to spend money like this and to go crazy like this, it's interesting to see what people pay. And in fact, the Giants in Scottsdale, there is an ad for tickets. One guy just sold 4 tickets to a spring training game. A spring training game, $120 a piece. And the Giants say, well, we're always sold out, so the secondary market is the way to get tickets if you want to come to a Giant spring training game. StubHub was selling tickets for $250 a piece for a Giants and Reds spring training game. Box seats behind the Dodgers spring training game is going to cost you $49. If you want to go sit in the grass, it's going to cost you $16. The Angels charge $34, the Cubs $32, and the Red Sox in Florida will charge you $46 for a spring training game. In Phoenix, Arizona, you can go to a Diamondback game and get seats for that for a regular season game, where you get the real players playing the whole 9 innings. This is just spring training. Now they have packages too. There's companies that do packages. If you want to go and really enjoy baseball for 7 days and 6 nights, they can put together a 5-game package for $3,500. Now, if you just want a weekend away, a 2-game, 2-night, a 2-day, 1-night package will cost you $1,200. What would you do at $3,500 if you had it? Would you spend a week in Arizona or Florida watching baseball? Now, as we transition to April, we come into the NFL draft. And that's become a huge thing. How do you attend the NFL draft? It's going to happen April 27th in Philadelphia this year. It's been in New York for years, and they moved it to Chicago, and now it's in Philly. If you want to go to that, basically you have to have a lottery. The NFL controls all the tickets to the NFL draft. And last year, over 80,000 people applied for tickets. 2,500 won. And of those 2,500, they had to be there in person with their ID, and the name had to match what the lottery was, or you wouldn't get your tickets. Now, if you want, you can take and spend your own money and travel from wherever you're coming from and go to Philadelphia and be on what's called standby. If someone doesn't show up, or someone only wants 1 ticket and they have 2, there's a standby ticket. And basically, if you get one of those, you have 20 minutes to get to the box office and claim your ticket. Or, believe it or not, you can be what's called a seat filler. That's the third option of being at the NFL draft. A seat filler is exactly that. So as the cameras are going, the draft is happening, if a seat holder gets up and goes wherever he goes, you hop in his seat until he comes back, and then you repeat the process over again. But the whole time, you're in the wings. You can't see what's going on until someone gets up and you need to go fill a seat. So you can join a lottery, you can be on standby, or you can be a seat filler. None of that is guaranteed. And people are spending thousands of dollars to travel to these areas and try to be involved in the NFL draft. And on the other side, if you're a player, I mean, the top players last year, their rookie contract was worth $27, $26 million. And of that, $18 million and $17 million was guaranteed. So in 1 year, you're a college football player. The next year, you're making almost $30 million in a contract, with that $18 or $17 million being guaranteed. Where's that money come from? It comes from fans. It comes from people who enjoy football and will spend that. An average cost for an NFL game is over $400 if you want to go enjoy a game. Now, that's sports. Basketball is crazy. College basketball is crazy. Spring training and baseball is crazy. The NFL draft and NFL games are crazy. What about Easter? What about when it comes time to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ? What happens there? In the last decade, attendance has been dropping for Easter attendance. And not just in one state or one denomination. People just aren't attending Easter services like they used to. Google Trends. Pew Research did a report, and that Google Trends data. And what they do, they track what you put into a Google search engine. And they're saying the word church is put into a Google search engine more times in the week before Easter than any other time during the year. So people are looking, they want to see what church services are happening at Easter. And if you're curious, the week that receives the least amount of church search engines is the week of Thanksgiving. And Lifeway Research, which is a Christian research company, they're saying that 1 in 5 Americans right now are undecided on if they're going to attend an Easter service or not. So you have people going crazy and being deceitful at work with this boss button and trying to watch the game. If their boss shows up, they flip a button and get off the screen. You have people spending thousands of dollars to attend, basketball, baseball, football events. But when it comes time to Easter, what do you say? I just want to spend this week and take time with this video to just kind of give you some food for thought. What are our priorities? What's most important to us? Nothing wrong with enjoying a ball game. Nothing wrong with being a fan. Nothing wrong with supporting your favorite team. But it has to be within boundaries. And I just pray that most people hearing this, that you can kind of think about that and say, what's more important to me? My church, my faith, my Lord, Easter. Well, anyhow, we're a few weeks away from that, so I hope you can kind of think through this, and I look forward to being back with you again next week with another small video. If you have any questions or comments, the website that I have is called interpretingthetimes.com. If you Google that, it's all one word, interpretingthetimes.com. So you can see more articles and more information on that website. So again, thanks for watching this week. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, God bless you.